What does the term county lines mean to you? How about cuckooing? If neither of those terms rings a bell, what about child abuse? Criminal exploitation? Gangs taking advantage of the vulnerable, the elderly?
If it's now starting to make sense, that's because the last three are things that you, as a member of the police force, help tackle on a daily basis.
It's part of our core responsibilities to protect communities and pursue offenders.
County lines is just the law enforcement term for the tactic our organised crime groups have been using for a while now.
To exploit young people, to exploit our vulnerable adults, to exploit our elderly neighbours. But it's a growing problem. There are around 1,000 lines being operated in the UK now, and their impact touches on at least 38 force areas.
The line is just a mobile phone the organised crime group controls and markets to low-level dealers or uses so they can order drugs to their towns or villages. It's called a county line because although the phone stays in the city, the line allows the organised crime group to deal in counties miles away without leaving the comfort of their own turf.
So where does the exploitation come in? Well, it's usually the young, the vulnerable, the elderly who takes the risk, while the organised crime groups take the profits.
They're recruited from urban areas and forced to travel to rural and coastal towns to sell the drugs, recoup the cash, and even do some of the enforcing.
They comply because they have to. They might owe money, they might have an addiction, they might come from a broken home. They might have been lured by the promise of easy money.
What actually happens is they get involved in violence, either as perpetrators or more likely as victims. They might even be kidnapped, tortured, or even murdered. And if they come to the attention of the police, they may well get arrested.
But some of these children are as young as 10 years old and may fall under the control of the organised crime group before they've committed any serious crimes.
So they're as much victims as offenders, and their age and vulnerability mean we need to treat them in a different way.
We need to intervene early and safeguard them so that the focus of our enforcement becomes the organised crime groups getting rich out of somebody else's misery. Likewise, adult victims, cuckooing is simply the tactic of a criminal taking over the home of a vulnerable or elderly person to use as a drug stem to store or deal from.
By preying on the vulnerabilities, the criminals either intimidate them into keeping quiet or give them drugs to feed their addiction.
Titan and each force in the North West is working harder than ever before to tackle the growing county lines problem.
Over the next month, you will see a campaign begin with Crime Stoppers to raise awareness, how to intervene and how to report such matters.
As with all good police work, intelligence is a key part and each and every one of us has a part to play. So whatever your role, please
learn to spot the signs of criminal exploitation and county lines activity.
Educate the people you come across about how it is happening in every community, affluent or poor, in every village, town and city in the region.
And make sure you submit intelligence reports and make safeguarding referrals whenever you think it's going on. With this information and with a new coordinated multi-agency approach, we can put a stop to this.